erupts in applause. Waiting now in anticipation. Okay, from 5 to 10 seconds, and we're ready to go. The gate drop. Inside, Larry Ward, number 6. On the outside is Ezra Lusk. Ezra Lusk, Yogi with his second hole shot. But look at Jeremy McGrath. McGrath taking the lead out of turn 1. It's then Larry Ward, Ezra Lusk, Jeff Emig, Phil Lawrence, Buddy Antonez, and Michael Craig.
So a great start for Larry Ward, but a horrible start for Doug Henry. He was last place around the first corner, and right now he's in about 17th or 18th, side by side with Damon Huffman.
Michael Craig, more bad luck, stalls out in the far turn as Jeremy McGrath hits the monster triple with Larry Ward right behind him.
And the guys that we would expect to get up there and challenge Jeremy, the guys that have been putting the pressure on this year, Emig and Hughes. Emig is in 4th, and Hughes about 7th or 8th right now. So a big break for McGrath, like he needed one.
It'll be interesting to see as he looks back on the finish line jump, David.
Now, this kid is so smart. He knows what to do. He went up in the air, left himself that option. He jumped it in about the middle, looked over his shoulder, knew he had the space, and he went to the outside.
Larry Ward in 2nd, and Ezra Lusk, but here comes Jeff Emig, number 2 on the left.
And problems for LaRocco continue. He got tangled up with Denny Stevenson. Now he's in 19th place.
Ezra Lusk, number 34. You wouldn't have think that starting the season, finishing 16th, 10th, and 15th, and missing one race with an injured back, he'd still be in the top 10. But this is a good ride for number 34 after an excellent week last week.
We're back to one of those things where this guy's racing for his job right now. He knows he's not going to win the title, but to get on the podium would make all the difference in the world to Ezra.
Here's the battle between Emig and Phil Lawrence, number 13, the top privateer. Phil Lawrence getting the edge on Emig.
Well, what happened was Emig went in and tried to make a pass on Ezra Lusk. He lost a little bit of time. Lawrence was there, battled with him through that mechanics area and passed him. So Lawrence is on the gas. He's got a great opportunity. He can see McGrath, not that far behind.
McGrath already with a 2.5-second lead on Larry Ward. Lusk and Ward battling it out for 2nd. And this is the battle for 3rd or 4th.
This is what we see all the time. McGrath gets the whole shot. It's like someone shot him out of a gun. He's gone. He knows that right now he can win this race if he just gets away. Then it's left to him. It's in his hands. Emig, if he has any chance at all, he's going to have to pass Lawrence and 2 other guys.
And by the time he can do that, if he can, McGrath will have he's already been opening it up at about half a second a lap. You can bet that's going to be even bigger.
McGrath into that dangerous corner. Makes it look easy.
Well, he can afford to take his time just a little bit on this slick surface and not make any mistakes. And Davey, as you pointed out, I mean, from here, I don't see anybody that can
in
challenge
second
it.
place, number 6, Honda of Troy's Larry Ward with Ezra Lusk in 3rd. And then we've got Lawrence, Emig, and Hughes until we get back to Mike Brown. Here's 2nd and 3rd, though, Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk. The only battle on the track right now that means anything.
Well, Larry Ward is pretty good on this hard-packed surface. Ezra Lusk rides a little bit more in the clay. Lawrence, coming from California, I think would have an advantage out here. His practice track is almost exactly like this one in terms of the surface, that hard-packed slick stuff.
Our Suzuki Field summary has, of course, McGrath out in the lead. McGrath, while he has the lead, LaRocco, a former competitor, was last place after the first lap.
Oh, it's just been a horrible year. It started off not too bad for LaRocco, but it's just gotten worse and worse. Now it's just all bad luck.
We've got a real battle forming up between Hughes and Emig back in the pack as we see Ward in 2nd place along with Ezra Lusk in 3rd. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Down with Sean Persinger. This is the best your man's run in a long time. He's looking good.
Yeah, Seattle, he got the whole shot and led the first 10 laps right after he broke his thumb and then got tired. So now he's been riding for the last month and a half since Seattle and been getting back into racing form. So hopefully he'll be able to hold up there a little bit longer and come out with a podium.
Your last signal to him was your race. Do you think he can actually catch him up front?
Right now, with Jeremy out front, unless he has a problem, I don't know, because nobody's done it all year. So hopefully he'll be able to keep it up and not worry about who's behind him right now.
And the signal goes out. No pressure. No pressure from Lusk in 3rd place.
Yeah, we're seeing no pressure out in front, too, in Jeremy McGrath as he's searching for his 9th consecutive victory. This is a battle for 5th place right now. As we mentioned earlier, Jeff Emig is getting some hounding from that rival of his, Ryan Hughes. And of course, you got to go back to last week.
Well, of course, and I think that's just an unfortunate situation that took place. Hughes was just going for it. He was in a similar situation he is right here. Maybe a little bit faster than Emig. Wanted to get around and just the front end washed out. You can bet he learned from that. That won't happen again.
Well, both riders with a very professional attitude coming out of that mishap last week. Emig, a professional attitude, admitting that he's been just as aggressive and expects it in return.
Well, it looks like Hughes is going to go by him clean this time. Rhino has been faster than Emig all year long through the whoops, and we just saw right there that he was able to do it.
Let's get down to Marty Reed with Wyatt.
Well, Wyatt's got a sign out there that says, Jeremy away, get going. What do you got to get him to do here? He's got his hands full right now.
Well, finally he got by Emig, so hopefully he pick the pace up a little bit. I mean, Jeremy out front again, riding smooth, and it seems like that once he gets a little breathing room, he just seems to go faster. So I'm just trying to get Ryan pumped up, hopefully pick up a little ground. Hey, get him into second, I'd be happy right now.
That's why it's sealed.
Okay, in 5th place, Ryan Hughes, number 5, with Emig now moving back to 6th place. Jeremy McGrath, our leader. It's been McGrath from the start out of turn 1, even though there were 3 riders who had a chance to come out of turn 1 on top. Jeremy made it through. We're looking back at a pack now at Larry Ward, Ezra Lusk, number 34, and number 13 is Lawrence, with Hughes on the run in 5th place.
And Hughes is fast to that whoop section. He's gaining time right there. He's already pulled away from Emig. And I think the only place he's doing it is through the whoop section. That's where he's going to be able to make a pass if he can.
Jeremy McGrath, Ward, Lusk, Lawrence, and Hughes, our Suzuki Field summary. As we check out Ezra Lusk trying to hold on to that position. Ezra with good speed.
Yeah, and we've noticed all night long that every time someone tries to effect a pass on the guy in front of him, he ends up opening the door to the people behind him. Lusk gets close to Larry Ward, only to have Lawrence and now Hughes come right up behind him.
McGrath has been opening up. He's got about a 9-second lead now. About a second a lap he's gaining on Larry Ward. It stayed the same there for a while. But I think right now Larry Ward's a little bit more concerned with Lusk than he is with McGrath.
McGrath making it look easy as we take a look at the Honda stopwatch to check out the interval. As we come out of these whoops, we'll check it for you. Larry Ward at 7.3 and Hughes at about 10.2.
Well, I think Hughes' only prayer at this point is to try to get past this cluster of riders and finish second. That would be a good ride for him, and it's totally possible. But his chances of catching McGrath, I don't think it's going to happen.
Doesn't seem to matter what kind of surface, what kind of configuration, Jeremy McGrath seems to victor.
Oh, he's just a maestro. You know, we watch him every weekend, and we try to think of something new, some kind of strategy someone could come up with or whatever. This guy's got an answer for everything. I mean, that's what we should start calling him, the answer.
The track builders came out with, oh, let's make it better part of our racing. Make the tracks a little easier, better passing, long whoops. Let's see if that'll jar Jeremy a bit. Didn't have any effect.
No, and once they realized that Huffman was faster than he was in Seattle in the whoop section, they started putting in a lot of whoop sections, and then Jeremy just got better at it. 101, the same lap times as the 125. So
That's
I think
amazing.
he's cruising.
He's just cruising right now. Well, then the track builder said, let's make it more difficult. In Houston, no less than 20 riders hit the dirt in Houston, not Jeremy McGrath. Well, Jeremy, during his win streak, has been good about taking one race at a time, and that doesn't mean that between his race routine stayed the same. This week, there was a big change.
I didn't go home back to California. I stayed in Dallas here. A friend of mine, you know, Grayson Goodman, and we hung out and had a great time and rode and did all the things that I normally do at home, but I just did it here. And it's not so fun to stay back when you don't have any friends in the town, but I had a great time.
Jeremy McGrath. They used to call him Showtime. They're going to call him Perfect pretty soon. You know, we started talking last week about what would have been unthinkable before the season started for any rider. And that is, can one rider win all the Supercross races in 1 year? Well, after Dallas, the possibility was there to think about it. Should he win here tonight, that possibility just gets stronger. It's like a no-hit pitcher going into the 6th inning now instead of the 5th.
Yeah, it's getting deeper and deeper, and we don't want to be the ones that jinx it, but, you know, I don't know what else we could possibly do to mess Jeremy's momentum up. He's going so well. And then you get guys like Larry Ward and Ezra Lusk, you see on your screen right there. These guys are running second, third. They're not even the ones we're supposed to be up there challenging McGrath. The other
Lusk
guys
currently in third place.
He's improved 1 over last week, finishing 4th in Houston, but now you can see just behind him, number 5, Ryan Hughes, has moved around Lawrence. Hughes is the one that's on the move, I think, right now, and they're approaching that whoop section here momentarily. That's where he's been gaining all his time.
Ezra, who had an injury-riddled year last year in his first season in 250s, was coming off, of course, a 125 championship, and he won that championship early right here at Dallas at Texas Stadium.
Yeah, I know Suzuki's just waiting for him to take that momentum he had. He was such a sensational 125-er. He's just been having a real hard time adapting. It's going to take him another year, maybe 2 years, but he doesn't have that much time. He's had enough chances.
Ed Longacre, his mechanic, clapping him on, but look at this rivalry coming on right now. Ryan Hughes has made a move from 6th place and now is challenging Ezra Lusk.
Last time Lusk went to the mechanics area, Longacre put on the board, push him. He was talking about Larry Ward. I don't think Lusk is thinking about Larry Ward anymore. Brian Hughes is breathing down his neck.
Ryan Hughes cutting to the inside. Oh, he almost had 3rd place.
I don't think that was the best place for him to try to affect a pass, because you know what? It's after the finish line where you do your passing.
Don't you think it was just showing him that wheel, telling him, hey, I'm here?
Well, he was, but I
Time
think
to get nervous?
it would have been smarter for Ryan to try to stay close to him, so when they got to the whoop section where he's fast, he might be able to make a pass. Too far away to make it happen this lap.
In case you just joined us here for the 250 main from Texas Stadium, it's Jeremy McGrath once again way out in front.
Hughes keeping the pressure on Lusk. And now that that's happened, they've both lost time over Larry Ward. So Larry Ward is really putting in a fine ride. We heard that from his mechanic, he led in Seattle, but at that point in his comeback, really, from that wrist injury, he wasn't 100%. He faded. Right now, he still looks pretty strong.
Yeah, Larry Ward had a lot of pressure of him going into the season after he finished 2nd last year. He's the vice champion of the 95 Supercross Series, but now he's got nothing to lose. He's blown any chance of the title with the injury. That was an unfortunate thing. Now he's got nothing better to do but try and get as many podium finishes as he can. Tonight would be his first of the year.
Okay, let's go down trackside to Marty Reed. Who you got, Marty?
I'm down there with Ed Longacre. Ed, you keep telling your man to go get Larry Ward, but it looks like he's got his hands full with Ryan Hughes.
Well, I just need to keep him focused to race forward, not worry about who's behind him right now. That's basically all he needs to do.
Well, that's Ed Longacre's strategy, but I'll tell you guys, they're going toe-to-toe out there.
Absolutely. Ryan Hughes, after bobbling a little bit earlier on the track, is coming back on Lusk. Phil Lawrence, incidentally, running in 6th position, went down and lost another spot. Here comes Ryan Hughes on the inside of the triple. Bar to bar. Lusk looks over to him and gives away.
Well, what set that up was a little mistake by Lusk. Exiting that mechanics area, getting ready for that little tricky triple there. Got sideways and some of that blue groove stuff opened up the door for Hughes. Now I think there's enough time for Hughes to catch Larry Ward. He's a little faster.
Hughes in a podium position right now. He has 2 other podiums this year, a 3rd place last week in Houston and a 3rd place in San Diego, when he had a 17th place start and made it all the way back to the podium. The 22-year-old from Escondido, California. That's just outside of San Diego.
Seems like Hughes has been around for a long time. It's hard to believe he's only 22 years old, but that's good news, though. He's got a lot of years left. You can bet he's going to get up there and get it figured out and challenge Jeremy. They ride together a little bit. They're friends. And it'd be kind of cool probably for Ryan and for Jeremy if he could get around Larry Ward. They could go 1-2 here.
You know, using your imagination now, because things are so spread out, it's a situation where Ryan Hughes or anyone with the track looking like almost like asphalt, anything could happen when you get around some of the lappers.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, again, Jeremy's so smooth, so confident, he doesn't make the mistakes.
Wyatt Seals, Ryan Hughes mechanic, kind of had a stare right there. Damon Huffman hitting a hay bale near us as Ryan Hughes in front of Ezra Lusk, but Ezra's not letting him go.
No, he's not. And Wyatt's got to be pleased with Ryan's progress. I mean, he did come from pretty far behind, but it's the same story again. He just couldn't get off the line, and when he does get off the line, he makes that mistake. So no matter what, he always is having to come from behind and never gets a real good look at Jeremy.
I wonder if Rhino spent too much time behind Ezra, though, to even catch up to Larry Ward now, because Larry Ward seems to have relaxed a little bit. He was riding a little tense there for a while, but now that he's got some ground, it's hard to make up time on this track.
One wonders in a main event like this if Larry Ward has the endurance. Larry Ward making a little slip going into the corner as we take a look at our leader right now, Jeremy McGrath. McGrath is lapping Doug Henry. That's nothing against Doug Henry. He's coming back from an amazing surgery from a broken back last year. Jeremy McGrath pretty well taking it easy, timing everything to his liking.
Well, he's just got the automatic pilot on right now. He's able to hit his lines. He's taking his time. A moment ago, we saw the yellow flags, and Jeremy completely backed off to wait, make sure what the situation was before he went forward. That's a smart thing.
Ryan Hughes is picking up on Larry Ward coming out of those whoops.
I think the smart thing for Larry Ward right here is that, you know, do your best. Don't try to push it too hard. And if Hughes is faster, well, that's just the way it goes. Get a third. You're still on the podium, and you're building confidence for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it looks like Art was exactly right. Larry doesn't seem to have the fitness now. I thought that he'd relax, but that one mistake we saw down here in the corner earlier, that really cost him.
Going into that dangerous turn right there was where he made that mistake, and Ryan Hughes picks up some time on him once again. So here is our battle for second place. Ryan Hughes gunning for his best position so far this year.
Let's see if this time Hughes...
Ryan Hughes cutting inside. Sorry, Davey.
That's okay. I was going to say, let's see if this time Hughes can get a wheel in front of him instead of waiting at the finish line. It worked perfect. Ward's having a great ride, but Hughes is just much faster and much more confident right now.
Ryan Hughes in the best position of the season for him now as he tries to climb up the points ladder. We're going to leave this main event from the 250 action of Texas Stadium with Jeremy McGrath, Hughes, Ward, Lusk. And it is Jeremy McGrath way out in front. Right now, we're looking at the second place rider to the left of your screen. Now coming over the finish line jump, Ryan Hughes, followed by Larry Ward. This would also, of course, be the best finish of the season for Larry Ward after a phenomenal year last year, in which he became the first privateer or independent team rider to place as high as second place on the season standings.
That was a phenomenal run for Larry Ward last year, but a lot of pressure coming into this season, and the injury didn't help matters much. And you know, that's what really impresses me about McGrath is the fact that year after year, with the pressure, with the expectation, with the law of averages, really, what's he do to keep motivated? The guy keeps on winning not only the championships, but every single race. It's a phenomenon, really.
You don't get your idea of how high these guys fly off those triples from up above, but we had a nice camera shot down below. It's the white flag lap, Jeremy McGrath.
Yeah, I noticed Jeremy just lapped Greg Albertine, who crashed earlier. You know, we were joking around earlier. If Albertine were a country and he had this kind of luck, he would be king.
Well, now it's pretty close in that battle for second right here. Ryan Hughes got around Larry Ward, probably felt like, well, that's the end of that. Larry Ward has not let him get away. He's within striking distance in the final lap.
Ezra Lusk is gunning for fourth. You know, a win here in Dallas could eliminate 1/3 of the riders who have scored points this year. Only 11 riders with 6 races remaining have a mathematical chance at winning the title, as Jeremy McGrath has simply dominated this season with a perfect record. The last lap for Jeremy McGrath. Hughes still in second, Ward in third, with Lusk in fourth.
McGrath jumping completely over that tabletop jump, still in the final lap.
Jeremy McGrath would become the first rider and has become the first rider to win 2 here at Texas Stadium in the 5-year history of the event here in Texas. And so it's Hughes in second, Ward in third, Lusk in fourth. It looked like Emig in fifth and Lawrence in sixth, with Huffman coming up to seventh. So the sore wrist really hampering Damon Huffman during today's race.
Also a horrible start, too, nearly dead last. Bradshaw, a bad start. Henry, a bad start. Although Henry was up to 10th early in the race, he slipped back. So still not up to speed physically, I don't think. McGrath has got to be stoked. 9 in a row. And as you saw him coming across the finish line, Lusk looked a little disappointed with slipping from third to fourth.
McGrath getting a victory here in his first 250 season in 1993. Crashed in the last lap with MK in 94. had a horrible start in the